ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Dear friends, we have just entered the sixth prashna of Prashnopanishad. The Prashnopanishad, sixth prashna is about the Shodasha Kalah Purushaha. So that is what I was telling in the introduction in the last class. Tasmai Sahovacha Ihaivantas Sharire Somya. The question was about the Shodasha Kalah Purushaha, the 16-limbed Purusha. 16 limbs means 16 aspects, let us say. Not exactly 16 limbs like a human being, hands, fingers, etc. 16 aspects which are there in the whole universe. These 16 aspects, they describe the whole universe. So this universe is appearing before us. And in this universe, this particular Upanishad has identified about 16 aspects. This is one way of describing the universe, because each Upanishad has its own way of describing Srishti. And the purpose of describing or mentioning this Srishti is not to describe the Srishti. This is what in this particular way it has happened. Like we see in Taittiriya Upanishad, we see Atmanaha Akasha Sambhutaha, Akashad Vayuhu, Vayuragnihi, etc., etc. From that supreme consciousness, initial emergence, the first emergence was Akasha. And from that Vayu, airs. And then those airs, they became fire, and then fire became fluid, that is water, and then water became solid. And then from that, all this plant kingdom has come. So that is the thing it describes. Chandogya Upanishad tells only about three, not about the five elements also. Then another Upanishad talks in a slightly different way, Chatushpad Brahma. So like that, each Upanishad tells in a different way. So the purpose is basically to show that Brahman alone is real. All other things, they are just appearances. So each Rishi, because all these Upanishads are visions to different Rishis in different places. That is what is the thing we see. Because all these Upanishads, in some particular period, some thousands of years ago, some Rishis who were sitting somewhere along the banks of Ganges or somewhere in Himalayas. So these are the people who thought about the universe. So who saw the universe and then visualized it in a particular way, isn't it? So that is what we see. So we talk about Shodasha Kalah Purushaha. It is not as though it is some new Purusha who is being described in this. It is the same old Brahman, which is nothing but Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, which is absolute consciousness, that is existence, consciousness, bliss. So that the same thing is being described by a different Rishi in a different way. That's all. Shodasha Kalah Purushaha, we should not think that it is a different way. So Shodasha Kalaha, these 16 aspects are starting with prana. Then again after prana, it is called Shraddha, devotion, faith, etc. Then again the five indriyas, the 5 elements and the 5 indriyas. So in that manner, they talk about 16 aspects, starting with prana and ending with what is called a nama, that is a name. So we are going to see in the next subsequent mantra. So here, so what we have to see is the basic question which is being discussed here is about what exactly is this consciousness, what is its relation to the human body-mind complex. The basic issue, or rather the question which has been examined by all the Upanishadic Rishis, is about the nature of consciousness. How is it related to the body-mind complex? How is it getting manifest in this body-mind complex? So that is why we see various types of analysis. For example, Taittiriya Upanishad, it talks about Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, it talks about various layers of personality. it talks about the gross body, and then after that the pranic body. The pranic body means the energy body, and then thereafter the intellect body, that is manomaya kosha, then again ahankara, that is vijnanamaya kosha, then again the anandamaya kosha. So beyond all these things is that supreme reality. So that is what that is the way analysis it does in Taittiriya Upanishad. So likewise in different Upanishads, different types of say strategies are adopted. And then the Upanishad also, Upanishad does not discuss, but the commentator Shankaracharya also discusses various theories of consciousness. When he is talking about what the Upanishad says, he has to examine what exactly is the actual meaning of this say particular sentence. So if he has to decide what is the particular meaning of this sentence that is spoken by the Upanishad, he has to also see what are the various theories of say consciousness by various other say thinkers like the Tarkikas, the Buddhists. There are different schools of Buddhists. There is one school called Vijnanavada. There is another school called Shunyavada. So like that, different schools are there. In addition to that, there are materialists. So all these things, Shankaracharya in this particular bhashyam, he tries to say examine, and he gives a picture of a just general outline of say this whole thing. And in fact, if we want to actually see this particular or study this particular say bhashyam, it is somewhat like going through a turbulent weather. If you are going in a flight, the pilot says, now we are facing some turbulent weather, fasten your seat belts. So now we have to fasten our belts. You and I also have to fasten our belts and then sit tight and then examine. So it is like that. So here, say what exactly is this consciousness? And then consciousness, every minute we are seeing something and we are having an experience, and that experience again is an aspect of consciousness only. What exactly is this experience? It is a manovrutti. It is just a sort of state of mind, isn't it? So this manovrutti is also associated with Chaitanya. And what exactly is this Chaitanya? And what is it? How is it related to this manovrutti? So if you think on that, Chaitanya is somewhat like a sort of electromagnetic wave, which is say carrying a sound wave or something else. So it is like that. So Chaitanya is something which is all pervading, which is there in every manovrutti, which is there in every experience. Then, so that is why it has now become the study of consciousness, which was done by ancient philosophers, ancient Indian philosophers, let us say. It is now the subject matter for modern science also. The physicists, they are seeing it. The people who are in biology, that neuroscience, etc., they are also studying it. The people who are studying psychology, they are also studying it. So it has now become a sort of study for an interdisciplinary say study rather. So that is how it is at present. And then Advaita Vedanta, what is the stand of Advaita Vedanta? We can know it first because we have already come across it in several Upanishads. Advaita Vedanta, what it says is consciousness alone exists. And it is this consciousness which is manifesting in this Antahkarana. Consciousness alone is manifesting in this Antahkarana. It is not in the Antahkarana, because this mantra particularly says, Ihaiva Antasharire Somya Sapurushaha Yasminneta Shodashakala Prabhavanti. So that is what he said. That is Antasharire, in this particular body, in this particular Antahkarana. It does not mean that consciousness is in the Antahkarana, like some fruits in a pot. Na kunde badarani, that is what Shankaracharya says at several places. Na kunde badarani means kunda is a pot, badara is a fruit. Kunde badarani na, it is not like that. It is only a manifesting place, not that it is something which is a storehouse of that. It is not as though it is storing that consciousness, like consciousness is an object which can be stored. It is not like that. It is where it is manifesting. Like electricity is manifesting in a bulb, electricity is manifesting in a fan. So when electricity is manifesting in a bulb, we cannot say that the property of electricity is to give light. It is not the property of electricity. The property of electricity is not to rotate. It is the property of the fan. So it is the property of the bulb, or rather the filament which is there to give light, to burn and give light. So the upadhi dharma is often attributed to electricity. So likewise, electricity is something which is above all these things. So that is what we see. So if we want to see what exactly is electricity, you can't see it directly. You have to see it through some fan, through some AC, through some bulb or something like that. And then that is the upadhi, or that is where this is manifest. So that upadhi is otherwise called, we know the word upadhi, a sort of limiting adjunct. So that thing which is nirvishesha, that thing which is indefinable, which cannot be seen, which cannot be objectified, you are able to realize it, you are able to feel it, you are able to understand it, not see it as an object. You cannot objectify it, you are just seeing, you are understanding it through a media, through some sort of upadhi. So these Shodasha Kalas, they become the upadhi. They become the upadhis through which this Brahman is understood. The presence of Brahman is understood. This is what, if you recall, Kenopanishad we saw, Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. It is known through every cognition. So it is realized, or rather it is understood through every cognition. So that is what it says. So in order to understand this Brahman, the Upanishads, or rather the Upanishadic Rishis, adopt the strategy or technique called Adhyaropa and Apavada. We were there in the last class. We were reading that particular line. We read this particular line. He Somya, ihaiva antasharire hridaya pundarika kasha madhye he Somya, sapurushaha na deshantare vigneyaha. We read it. So it is in this particular body that this Purusha has to be known. Yasminneta uchyamana shodashakalaha prabhavanti utpadyante. There is no confusion about it. Shodashakalabihi upadhi bhutabihi. We read this line. Well, let us read it again. Shodashakalabihi upadhi bhutabihi.
Shodashakalabihi upadhi rupabihi.
Upadhi bhutabihi.
Upadhi bhutadibihi.
Bhuta, not bhutadi. Rupadi, no. Upadhi bhuta. Upadhi rupa also is okay. Nothing wrong. Upadhi rupabhi, upadhi bhutabihi. Sakala iva nishkalah purusho lakshyate.
Sakala iva nishkalo purusho iva lakshyate.
Purusho iva nagadu. Not iva. Sakala iva nishkalah purusho lakshyate. Nishkalah purusha. Nishkalah purusha sakala iva lakshyate. So sakala iva nishkalah purusho lakshyate avidyaya.
Sakala iva nishkalo purusho lakshyate avidyaya.
Iti tad upadhi kaladhyaropa adhyaropapanayena.
Tad upadhi kaladhyaropapanayena.
Not nayanena, nayena. Apanayena. Vidyaya. Sa purusha kevalo darshayitavya iti. Kalanam tat prabhavatvam uchyate pranadinam. So this is the line which we read. I told you I would explain this thing. So these Shodasha Kalas are upadhis. They are the thing, they are the sort of media through which this Brahman can be known. So through these things only, this Nishkalah Purusha, this Purusha, we know the meaning of Purusha. Purnatvat Purusha, Purushete iti Purusha, it refers to not a person. Purusha in ordinary parlance, it refers to a person. Here we are not referring to any person. We are only referring to that Shuddha Chaitanyam only. Purusha here is synonymous with Shuddha Chaitanyam. So this Shuddha Chaitanyam which is Nishkala. Nishkala means having no aspect. So it is having no aspect, but it is looking as Sakala. Sakala does not mean whole. Sakala means Sakala. Nishkala, Sakala. Sakala means having parts. Sakala. Nishkala thing is appearing as Sakala. The thing which is aspectless is appearing as though it is having aspects. Sakala Purusha Lakshate Avidyaya. It is because of Avidya. It is only because of this Avidya. In fact, this concept of Avidya also we have discussed now and then. That is, in this Shuddha Chaitanya, the first Shuddha Chaitanya is also associated with this Maya. This Maya is a manifesting power, let us say. So that manifesting power, from in that, the first appearance is that Hiranyagarbha as a Jiva, or if you look at it as Ishvara, you call it Ishvara. So then there is a sort of disconnect between Shuddha Chaitanya and what is appearing. So in order to explain that sort of disconnect, this concept called Maya or Avidya. It is called ignorance. So ignorance is not something, ignorance of any physics or mathematics or anything like that. Ignorance means a wrong perception. There is something, you are looking at it as something else. Reality is there, but you are seeing it as something else. So that is what is avidya. Avidya is not a total absence of knowledge, but it is wrong knowledge. So this wrong knowledge, so it is because of these upadhis. So this upadhi, what the Upanishad Rishi is now trying to do is that these upadhis are accepted on the face value right now. To start with, we accept these upadhis. And then we examine these upadhis and then negate them. Adhyaropa apavada, the basic technique is, you accept the things as the other person says. Yes, there is a universe. Yes, there is universe. And then you examine them. You examine them on what count? Karya Karana Sambandha. There is a strategy called Karya Karana strategy. You see, take the part. You take this part is not different from clay. So the clay is not different from its original thing. What? Adhyah Pruthivi. It is not different from water. And water is not something different from fire. And fire again is not different from its karana. Each karyam is not different from the karanam. The basic thing is, karyam is not different from the karana. Karana is the cause, karyam is the effect. So the effect is not different from the cause. So when you are starting from, say, a pot, you say that it is not different from clay, that is earth as a whole. It is not different from its karanam, that is water. It is not different from its karanam, the fire. And the fire is not different from its karanam, the air. And that is not different from its karanam, the space. And that itself is not different from its karanam, the maya. Maya vachinam chaitanyam. We come to that point. So ultimately it is that avidya where we come. And then that is something which is, you cannot say it is real, you cannot say unreal. So you can't say it is unreal because it is seen. You cannot say it is real because after you realize that all this is consciousness, this is all negated. So this is what it is. So the Upanishad Rishis, they adopt a policy of Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa is superimposition. Adhi means above. Adhi, like Adhipati. What is Adhipati? Sitting above you. Somebody is sitting above you, he is Adhipati. Rajyadhipati we say. Then Adhyaksha we say. So Adhipati, Adhi means above. Adhi Aropa. Aropa means attribution. Arohanam means climbing, isn't it? Arohanam is climbing. Aropa is putting something on top of something else. Aropa. That means you are putting something on top of something. Adhyaropa. You say Neraropamu, we say in Telugu. Neraropa means you are attributing some crime to a particular person. So it's the aropa. You are attributing something to something. So adhyaropa means you are attributing something to something, isn't it? And this is adhyaropa. That is you are attributing some quality or some property, some characteristic to something. Then apavada. Apavada means to negate it. Vadati. What is the meaning of vadati? Vadadhatu. To say. Apavada means to take it away. That is to negate it. Apavadati. Vadati means to negate. Vadati means he says. Apavadati means he negates. Isn't it? So adhyaropa is a superimposition and apavada is negation. So a question may come as to why we have to do all these things. Adhyaropa, why should we do adhyaropa, and again why to negate? And the point is, without this you cannot know that it is Nishkala Purusha. So in that Nishkala Purusha you have to accept whatever say the common man says about this universe. Okay, this universe is there. It is having so many aspects. You call it the five Panchamahabhutas, or you call it Shodashakala, you call it something else, Chatushpat Brahma, whatever it is there. And then you examine this Karya Karana analysis. And then in this Karya Karana analysis, the basic point is Karyam is not different from the Karana. So ultimately this thing is not different from that Maya Vachinnam Chaitanyam. And this Maya Vachinnam Chaitanyam is a manifestation in that supreme reality. So this world which we see is a phenomena. So that is what ultimately the Vedantis conclude. So the Adhyaropa is done. It is not out of ignorance it is done. It is a Shastriya Adhyaropa. There are two types of Adhyaropas. The person who is totally ignorant, who is totally unaware and then of anything, he accepts the world as it is. This Adhyaropa starts right from our beginning. The moment a child is born, you put a stamp on him. What? You say that he is born into a particular caste. then he is a male, then he grows up and then he is something else. What? No, there is a religion also. A man is a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim, whatever it is. And in those religions there are so many sects and all those things. Then again you belong to a particular nation. In addition to this general superimposition on this man's personality, this man becomes a doctor, he is an engineer, he is a husband, he is a father, he is a son, he is this, that, etc. There are so many things which are added on. So all these things, they determine his personality or identity, isn't it? So all that identity has to be discarded. All that identity is slowly discarded to see what is the real nature. The real nature is that he is a jiva. And what is this jiva? Jiva is that antahkarana avachinnam chaitanyam is jiva. Starting from an ant to a dinosaur, starting in between that man, everything is antahkarana avachinnam chaitanyam only. That chaitanya which is reflecting in your mind. So that is the jiva. That jiva hood is constant. That is what we see in all the meditations in the Upanishads. All the meditations in the Upanishads, which are the earlier portions of this knowledge portions. For example, if you take, we have done Taittiriya. Taittiriya, the first portion, Shikshavali, deals with upasanas, meditations. Then second thing, when it comes to Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, straight away it tells about the Tatastha Lakshanam and Swarupa Lakshanam of Brahma. And then we debate on that, discuss it, and then try to intellectually understand it. So that is what it is. But there is a lot of preparatory action. In this whole preparatory action, we have done a lot of meditation. That is Bhur Bhuva Suvari iti va Tisro Vyahrutayaha Bhuhu Bhuvaha Suvaha iti. Then Bhuriti Bhurit Yagnau Pratitishthati Bhuva iti Vayau Suvarityaditye. We have seen all those things. What is that? You are going beyond your limited personality and you are trying to identify yourself with the entire Bhuhu. When you say Bhuhu, you are identifying with that Bhu. Bhuvaha, your identity has expanded and you are identifying with that Bhuva. Suvaha, your identity has further expanded and you are including that heaven also. So in this Gayatri mantra, if we see Bhuvaha, Suvaha, Mahaha, Mahaha is another level of experience. Maha, Janaha, Tapaha, Satyam. So Satyam is the loka of that Hiranyagarbha. So you identify yourself with that Hiranyagarbha. I am not different from that Hiranyagarbha. Like a wave identifies, it is not difficult for a wave to identify with the ocean, isn't it? So it is not difficult for Ghatakasha to identify with Mahakasha. So like that you identify. But all this is at a lower level, because Hiranyagarbha Brahma again is a Saguna Brahma, isn't it? It is at a lower level. So, but the upasanas which are there in the initial portions of the Upanishads, they have prepared you already to discard your lower identity to come to a higher identity. So these things have made our mind pure. So after this, then the Rishi is talking about what exactly is the supreme reality. So when the Upanishad is now talking about that, you are now prepared to receive it. So that is what we have to see, the whole structure of upasanas, and then subsequently the knowledge portion, jnana portion, if we see. Because unfortunately, sometimes some teachers, they disregard these upasanas. They dismiss these upasanas and then straight away come to sixth chapter of Chandogya. So, which it is incorrect. Because these meditations, they actually elevate us. They elevate us from a lower level, and then slowly our notion of limited identity is discarded and we are expanding our identity. So that is what is needed. But even that is Saguna level only. So if you want to discard that and transcend, above that, transcend it, then you are coming to this Nirguna Brahma level, which we now see here, or which we have seen in Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So that is the discussion here. So this Adhyaropa and Apavada becomes necessary. So that is what we see here. Tad upadhikala adhyaropa apanayena. So you understood the words Adhyaropa and Apanaya. Adhyaropa is Shastriya Adhyaropa, not due to ignorance. And due to ignorance, whatever Adhyaropa is there is our personality. I am a Brahmin, I am a Hindu, I am this, I am an Indian. So I am this, that, etc., etc. All these things are avidyaya adhyaropa. That is all in what is this? Superimposition due to ignorance. But this is Shastriya Adhyaropa, something which is recommended by the Shastra in order to see the reality. So that is the thing. Kevala Purusha Darshayitavya Kalanam tat prabhavatvam uchyate pranadinam. So pranadinam kalanam prabhavatvam tat prabhavatvam uchyate. So this Shruti is saying that all these pranadi kalas, all these aspects, they are from that Supreme Brahman. Like Taittiriya says, Yato va imani bhutani jayante. What is that? Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, etc., etc. So that is again adhyaropa. And then again it is apavada. You negate all that. Then the next line, Atyanta nirvisheshe yadvaye shuddhe tatve.
Atyanta nirvisheshe.
You see the
nirvisheshe yadvaye shuddhe.
Shuddhe tatve.
Shuddhe tatve.
Na shakyah adhyaropamantarena.
न शक्यः अध्यारोपमन्तरेण
प्रतिपाद्य प्रतिपादनादि व्यवहारः कर्तुं
प्रतिपाद्य प्रतिपादनादि व्यवहारः कर्तुम्
इति कलानां प्रभवस्थित्यप्ययाः आरोप्यन्ते
इति कलानां प्रभवस्थित्यप्यया आरोप्यन्ते
अविद्याविषयाः
अविद्याविषयाः.
you can stop it. So this avidya-vishayah kalaha, all these kalaha, all said and what are they? They are under that, from that Mayavachinam Chaitanyam only. So all things, they fall under the realm of avidya. All these kalas, starting from prana to down to say name, all these things are avidya-vishayah only. So those things, they are attributed to this Brahman. Attributed to Brahman means they are said to have originated from Brahman. Not attributed to Brahman directly, they are said to have originated from Brahman. Why? Because Atyanta nirvisheshe hi advaye shuddhe tatve hi. Because in this Atyanta nirvishesha, in this absolutely attributeless, Vishesha means attribute, isn't it? Vishesha is an adjective, adjective, attribute. Nirvishesha is attributeless. Advaya, which is totally non-dual. Then Shuddha. Shuddha means there is absolutely no contact with any sort of creation, no contact with any karma, karma phala, etc., nothing. Shuddhe Tattve, that sort of entity, but it exists. Tattva, it exists. It is not as though it doesn't exist. In that Tattva, Adhyaropamantarena Nashakyah Pratipadya Pratipadanadi Vyavaharah. Without this Adhyaropamantarena, Antarena means Vina. Except without this adhyaropa, without this tactic of superimposition, so this tactic or strategy, let us say, of superimposition, this pratipadya pratipadanadi vyavaharaha is not possible. What is this pratipadya pratipadana vyavaharaha? Pratipadya means something which is postulated. Pratipadyam is something which has been postulated. So Brahma is like this. So that is the pratipadya vastu here. Brahman is like this. Pratipadanam means the act of postulation. The act of postulation is pratipadana. Postulated thing or postulated tattvam is that Brahma. Pratipadya pratipadanadi vyavahara. So now, through this strategy, the Upanishad is trying to postulate the nature of Brahman. So this sort of process of postulation is pratipadana. So this sort of vyavahara is not possible unless we accept this strategy we adopt this strategy or tactic of this adhyaropa. So that is what it is. Is it clear? Now pratipadanadi vyavahara kartum na shakyate iti kalanam prabhava sthiti apyayaha. Prabhava is origin, sthiti means existence, apyaya. Apyaya means vinashaha. Apyaya means say resolution, let us say, resolution. All these things, they are aropyante. Aropyante means you are attributing aropanam. Again this aropana you see, adhi aropa. Aropyante. Then they are attributed on this Brahman. Avidya vishaya. Then Chaitanya vyatirekena vahi kalaha jayamanas tishtantyah praliyamanascha sarvada lakshyante. Okay. So all these kalaha, whether it is pranam, whether it is shraddha, whether it is pancha indriyas, all these things, Chaitanya avyatirekena vahi. That is, associate, avyatirekena means not different from. That means always associated with. Avyatirekena means it is not different from, it is always associated with. So always associated with this, say, consciousness only, all these aspects, they appear as though, you see this particular word also, Chaitanya Avyatirekenaiva, that is not different from or always associated with this Chaitanya only. All these kalaha, they are Jayamanaha. Jayamanaha has to be connected with this Lakshyante. Jayamanaha, Tishtantyaha, Praliyamanaha, Sarvada Lakshyante. So this Lakshyante is an important word. Lakshyante means they just appear. The Upanishad, the Shankaracharya is not saying that these things are really there. These things are really existing. He says appears. Lakshyante. What? Jayamanaha Lakshyante. Tishtantiha Lakshyante. That is, they appear as though they are arising. Tishtantiha Lakshyante. They are Lakshyante. They appear as though they are staying. Then Praliyamanasya Lakshyante. That is, they appear as though they are resolving. Sarvada Lakshyante. Sarvada means in all states, Jagrata, Swapna, Sushupti. Sarvada, here the footnote Swamiji gives, Sushupti, Jagarayoho iti yavat. Sushupti, Jagara, and all these things, in these things, Sarvada Lakshyante. Then, Atayeva Bhrantaha Kechid, Agni Sanyogad Ghurtamiva, Ghatadyakarena, Chaitanyameva Pratikshanam Jayate Nashyati iti. So here Shankaracharya is referring to various schools, some 3-4 different schools. So if we want to understand in greater detail, we have to read some history of Indian philosophy. I recommend you to take one book called A Critical Survey of Indian Philosophy, if you don't have it already. A Critical Survey of Indian Philosophy by a well-known writer called Chandradhara Sharma. Chandradhara Sharma, one of the very, very standard books. Why I recommend this book is, that book uses all the terminology which we see in the Upanishads. Because if we don't know the terminology, we don't know whether he is rightly using it. Suppose there is only an English word without the original term. So he gives the original term and also the English translation. If we don't know the original term, if we see only the translated word, we don't know what it is. Suddenly he says some ignorance. Somebody who is not acquainted with this concept of avidya, he will find it totally difficult to follow what it is. So you can see that book to see various schools of Indian philosophy, what is their idea of, say, Srushti, what is their idea of knowledge or consciousness. So that is very important. Theories of consciousness is something which we have to see. So here Shankaracharya is referring to Vijnanavadi. Atayeva Bhrantah Kechid. Bhrantah Kechid. Bhrantah means deluded people. Atayeva, therefore means why? Because this is all, everything is Chaitanya Avyatirekena eva, they are there. That is, they are always associated with Chaitanya. So that is why the Vijnanavadi says, apart from Chaitanya there is nothing. Chaitanya only, it is transforming, or parinama, it is transforming into these things and momentarily dying. They are just dying means disappearing. So that is what they say. So Chaitanya, Bhrantaha Kechit, Agni Sanyogad Ghrutam eva. That is Ghrutam. Ghrutam is ghee. Clarified butter we say in English, because ghee is something which is not understood. Clarified butter. So that is Agni Sanyogat. Suppose you heat it up. So this is in a slightly semi-solid state. It becomes liquid and then it vaporizes. So like that, Agni Sanyogad Ghurtamiva Chaitanyameva Pratikshanam Jayate Nashyati. So this Chaitanya only is undergoing change. Chaitanya only is appearing as something and then it is, say, disappearing. So that is what they say. So for this, if we want to know completely what exactly is their contention and all, we have to see their, see what the Vijnanavadi says, what the various schools of Buddhism, what the Vijnanavadi says, etc. Then he comes to another person in the same, say, Buddhist school. That is, Bhrantah Keshit, okay. Tayo Bhrantah Keshit, we read this line, isn't it? Prasishanam Jayate Nashyatiti. Tannirodhe Shunyamiva Sarvamityapare.
तन्निरोधे शून्यमिव सर्वम् इत्यपरे
इत्यपरे अपरे
इत्यपरे
ओके तन्निरोधे तत् निरोधे मीन्स विज्ञान से निरोधे that particular घटाद्याकार चैतन्यम is there, isn't it? That घटाद्याकारेण चैतन्यमेव परिणमते. So when that is gone, everything is shunyam. When that is gone, everything is shunyam, total void. There is nothing. Vijnana also is not there. At least this Vijnanavadi says, Kshanika Vijnanavadi, that is momentary consciousness, the theory of momentary consciousness. That is what Vijnanavadis say. Where consciousness arises for a moment and then the next moment it is not there. So if you see an object, there is a consciousness or knowledge of that object for a minute, not minute, for a moment, let us say, for a kshanam or a moment, and then the next moment that consciousness that is not there. The next moment there is another knowledge that again dies. The next moment there is another knowledge that again dies. So that is Kshanika Vijnanavada, the theory of momentary consciousness, that is what it is said. But these people, they go another step and then they say, when that is not there, then totally, there is total absence of anything, there is total void, shunya. So they are called Shunyavadis. Then some other people like Tarkikas. Tarkika means the logicians. We are now coming to logicians. Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam Chetaituhu Nityasya Atmanaha Anityam Jayate Vinashyati Ityapare. So this Anvaya of this sentence is Chetaituhu Nityasya Atmanaha. That is, of this Atma is what? Chetaita Nityaha Atma. That is the basic thing. Chetaita Nityaha Atma. Chetaita means that is which is of the nature of consciousness. Chetana. Chetana is Chaitanya, isn't it? Chetaita, that is which is of the nature of consciousness. Nityaha, eternal. Atma, that self. That Chetaituhu Nityasya Atmana is Shashti Ekavachanam. Of this Chetaita Nitya Atma, this Atma is eternal. Tarkikas, they at least accept the eternal nature of Atma. This Shani Buddhists, they don't even accept it. They say that knowledge just arises and dies. Whereas Tarkikas, they are the Astika Darshana, isn't it? They are the people who accept this supremacy of the Vedas, they accept the Vedas. So they say that Atma is there. But then they say Jnanadhikaranam Atma. Atma is there is no doubt. And in that Atma, some temporary Jnanam is born and then the temporary Jnanam disappears. So that is what they say. So they accept that Atma is there eternal. That is Chaitanya. It is Chaitanya Swarupa only, there is no doubt. So that is why there is Dvaitam. Chaitanya is there and an object also is there. Chaitanya is there, Jnana is separate from that. So that is what they say. So here, Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam is something which is Anityam. Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam Anityam Jayate. Connect this Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam to Anityam. If you see that line,
yes,
you connect this Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam to Anityam. Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam Anityam Jayate Vinashyati. So what they say is, when you look at an object, say Ghatam, that Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam, so that particular knowledge, Ghatadi Vishayam knowledge, that thing, that is Anityam Jayate. That is, it is something which is ephemeral, which is momentary. In fact, what they say is, Utpannam Jnanam Dvikshanavasthai, they say. Dvikshanavasthai means it stands only for 2 moments. The Kshanika Vijnanavadi says, in one Kshana it disappears. But these people, they say, that it is there, Dvikshanavasthai. Why these 2 Kshanam only? Because in one Kshanam, that knowledge is there. In the second Kshanam, another knowledge of the same part is there. Suppose you are looking at something. So I am having this knowledge of this thing for a Kshanam. Then again in the next Kshanam or a next moment, the same knowledge appears and the earlier knowledge dies. So that means the earlier knowledge stays only for 2 moments. The earlier knowledge stays for only 2 moments and then there it dies. Then again a new knowledge is born. The only difference between Tarkikas and say the Vainashika, the person who is advocating this momentary consciousness, the difference is that those people, Buddhists, they deny the existence of Atma also. They don't talk about the permanence of the Atma. Whereas Tarkikas, they accept that there is Atma which is permanent, which is Nitya, eternal, etc. And then in that Nitya Atma, there is some Anitya Chaitanya, Anitya knowledge which is appearing, or which is born rather. Jayate, isn't it? Anitya knowledge, Jayate. So that is what these people think. For this again, there will be elaborate arguments. Unless we see that Tarka Sangraha and all that, we will not understand. So we have to see a little bit of Tarka Sangraha for this. So Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam Anityam Jayate Vinashyati Ityapare. Apare means this Tarkika and Vaisheshikas. So this Ghatadi Vishayam Chaitanyam, where is it born? Chetaituhu Nityasya Atmanaha. For this Nitya Atma only, this Anitya Chaitanyam is born. In that Nitya Atma, Anitya Chaitanyam is born. Is it clear?
Yes.
The sentence is structure, is it clear?
Yeah.
Because this is this discussion, typical Shastra Paribhasha, not straightforward sentences, but lot of logic is, lot of Anvaya. We have to understand the Anvaya. So then, Chaitanyam Bhuta Dharma iti Laukaitikāha.
Chaitanyam Bhuta Dharma iti Laukaitikāha.
Laukaitikāha. Lokayata. There is another thing called Lokayata. Loke Ayata. That is, it is quite popular in the world. Loke Ayata. Ayata means something which is already established. That is, it is very, very popular. Why? There is nothing else. There is no such thing called heaven or anything like that. Everything is okay. We are just born from this, the elements. So, Bhuta Dharma. Bhuta means the elements. The 5 elements we talk about. Whereas the Lokayatas, they don't accept 5 elements. They accept only 4 elements. They don't accept Akasha. They don't accept the concept of Akasha. They accept only 4 elements. That is Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu. That's all. And in fact, the Western philosophy also accepts only 4. Western philosophers right from the early days, they accept this 4 elements only. They are again totally materialists. So these people are also materialists. Lokaitikaha. Lokayata is materialism, you can say. This materialist, it is quite popular because it appeals to people. So Chaitanyam is Bhuta Dharma. It is something which is the property of this matter. Chaitanya or consciousness is the property of the matter. So individually this earth, water, fire and air, they may not have this consciousness. But when they come together and form this body-mind complex, then suddenly, like a chemical, what is it? Chemical, not combination, chemical reaction. Yeah, like a chemical reaction. So there is something, when there is a chemical reaction, something new is born. Or something, suppose a person drinks and then he becomes totally, in a totally different intoxicated condition. So this intelligence is somewhat like that chemical reaction or something like that intoxicated condition. So that is what they say. So Chaitanyam Bhuta Dharma iti Laukaitikaha. Then the Siddhanti is coming to what exactly the Vedanta says. Let us read. Anapayopajana dharmaka chaitanyam atmaiva
Anapayopajana dharmakam chaitanyam atmaiva
Namarupadhyupadhi dharmaih pratyavabhasate.
Namarupadhyupadhi dharmaih pratyavabhasate.
So this is Chaitanyameva, Chaitanyam Atma Eva, that is this particular consciousness which is Atma, otherwise called Atma. Nama Rupadi Upadhi Dharmaihi. All these Upadhi dharmas are there. Upadhi, we have explained, seen what is Upadhi. And those Upadhis are Nama, Rupa, name and form, isn't it? Name and form are there for all the Upadhis. In the whole universe, whatever you see, you have got a name and you have got a form. Because you have got a form, there is a name given to that. So now this Nama, Rupa is something which is common. So in these Upadhi dharmaihi, through these Upadhi dharmaihi means it is not Chaitanya is not becoming those Upadhi dharma. Upadhi dharmaihi avabhasate means it is indicated or revealed by these Upadhis. Upadhi dharmaihi, you have to take it as indicated by or revealed by. Upadhi dharmaihi, this Swamiji writes, Sarvada iti Upadhi dharmaihi. Where is it? upadhi upalakshitah iti bhavah. Upalakshitah means it is indicated. Unless this upadhi is there, unless the bulb is there, just as electricity is not revealed, so similarly, through this nama rupa only, this Brahman is revealed. So, what type of Chaitanyam is it? Anapayopajana dharmaka Chaitanyam. Apaya. Na plus apaya is anapaya. You first forget about that na for some time. Apaya. What is apaya? In Telugu, apaya we use it wrongly. Apaya means danger. So here apaya is not danger. Apaya is total apaya. Total vinasha. Total vinasha. Apaya is vinasha. So that is, what is vinasha? Death, let us say cessation. Upajana, that is born, birth. Upajana is birth. Apaya is death. So, apaya upajana is apayopajana. Not like that, anapayopajana. Na plus apayopajana becomes anapayopajana. So, that is, Chaitanyam is something which is not born, which doesn't die. So, we know why. Because if you say that Chaitanyam is born, then who is there to notice the birth of that Chaitanya? There should be some agency to notice the birth of that Chaitanya. There is somebody to notice the death of that Chaitanya, isn't it? So, Chaitanyam is something which is eternal, which is always there. So, if you say there is Chaitanya is non-existent, who is the perceiver of that non-existence? So, that again there is a need for a jnanam, isn't it? So, that is what it is. Anapayopajana dharmakam Chaitanyam. Upajana dharmakam. Dharma means it is of that nature, property. Anapaya, so that is something, this Chaitanyam is something which is devoid of death and birth. So that is what we have seen. Najayate mriyate va kadachit, ayam bhutva bhavita va, etc., etc. All those things we can apply it here. So Chaitanya atmaiva, nama rupadi dharmaihi pratyava bhasate. Again this avabhasate is another word you have to see. Like the earlier word lakshyate, it appears. Here again is pratyava bhasate. It again it is seen, it manifests. The actual meaning of this pratyava bhasate is manifests. How? Then he is quoting some shrutis. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma.
Satyam jnanam anantam brahma.
Prajnanam brahma.
Prajnanam brahma.
Vijnanam anandam brahma.
Vijnanam anandam brahma.
Vijnana ghana eva.
Vijnana ghana eva.
Ityadi shrutibhyaha.
Ityadi shrutibhyaha.
So we have seen this Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. Brahman is of the nature of existence. Satyam is not ordinary sense of truth. It is not truth in our ordinary sense. I am telling truth. No, not like that. Satyam is sat, sat, sat. That is of the nature of existence. Existence is again which cannot be negated in all the three times, which is beyond time. Trikalabadhyam, which is beyond time. Jnanam. Jnanam, why is jnanam added? Because if you only say that this Satyam is existence, 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 it can be a huge mass of existence. It can be jada. It is not jada. It is not a jada padartha, it is Chaitanyam. And then in this Chaitanyam again, there can be knower known relationship. Chaitanyam again, there can be knower known relationship. That relationship is possible only when something is limited, isn't it? Knower known relationship is possible only when something is limited. So when something is totally infinite, then there is no question of knower known relationship. So that is why Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, these three words are interrelated, we have seen in Taittiriya Upanishad. Then similarly, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahma is of the nature of consciousness. Prajnanam, which is pure consciousness. Then again, Vijnanam Anandam Brahma. We added one more thing called Anandam. Anandam is similar to Ananta. So, what is this? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Or rather, Satchid Ananda. That also is there. Sat is Satyam, Chit is Jnanam, Anandam is similar to Anantam. Slightly different from Anantam. Why is Anandam is Anantam? Because when you are infinite, then only there is total bliss. When you are still finite, there is still something called, there is a duality, Dvitiyad Vaibhayam. So all these situations exist. So when you are Ananta, when that itself that is of the nature of Ananta, then that is of the nature of bliss also. And another way which it is explained is, every human being, not only human being, every animal, every prani, even including every tree, everything, it always wants happiness, isn't it? It always seeks happiness. So that is why it strives to have happiness. And that happiness which we have in this, through this Vishaya, what we call Vishayananda, is a small amsha of that Brahmananda only. When you have that food, for example, suppose I am very hungry and I have food. And when I am having food, I am blissful, and then I forget everything and then I eat. So that particular moment of bliss is something which is a reflection of that supreme bliss which is there, Ananda. So in that supreme Ananta thing, there is no question of any want. So only in a limited thing there is want. So that Ananda is associated with Brahma. Then Vijnana Ghana Eva, that is something which is Vijnana Ghana, it is a mass of consciousness, means there is no triputi in that knowledge. There is no knower, known knowledge, that triad, that tripartite division is not there. Ityadi Shrutibhyaha, because of these Shrutis. Then Swarupa Vyabhicharishu Padartheshu, your book, because there is a lot of commentary in that.
स्वरूप व्यभिचारेषु पदार्थेषु
चैतन्यस्य अव्यभिचारात् यथा यथा यो यः पदार्थो विज्ञायते तथा तथा ज्ञायमानत्वादेव तस्य चैतन्यस्य अव्यभिचारित्वम्. So this sentence also is, construction is, we have to carefully see. Swarupa avyabhicharishu padartheshu chaitanyasya Swarupa vyabhicharishu padartheshu chaitanyasya avyabhicharat. So first you break it and then you say Swarupa vyabhicharishu padartheshu chaitanyasya avyabhicharitvam. Suppose you say like that, the sentence breaks. Chaitanyasya avyabhicharitvam means what? Chaitanya is avyabhichari. Avyabhichari means what? It is constant, which is unchanging. Vyabhichari is something which is changing. V plus abhi plus chara. Charati, charadhatu. What is the meaning of charati? Moves. Abhicharati means moves all around. Vyabhicharati means visheshena abhicharati. That is frequently changing, frequently moving. That is vyabhichari, isn't it? So that vyabhichari means changing. Jnanam is something, you see, jnanam and also an object. Suppose an object is there. Object, it changes in the sense that in the moment I see this in this moment, I see this in another moment, I see something else in another moment. The object itself can change. Or within an object there can be change. Jayate, asti, parinamate, etc., etc. So this vastu, all this vishaya, whatever it is, vishaya, an object, it is always changing. It is not eternal. Object is always changing. This is what we have seen in Nasato vidyate bhavo, nabhavo vidyate satah. If you recall the discussion in that 2-16 of Gita. So there we have seen this Ghatasan, Patasan, etc., etc. Sadbuddhihi, Ghata buddhi, Sadbuddhihi. There he draws a distinction between Sadbuddhi. Ghata buddhi may change, but then Pata buddhi is there. So always there is what is called Sadbuddhi. Sadbuddhi means the notion that existence. So that is what is Sadbuddhi. So that is what precisely is here. So here, Swarupa Vyabhicharishu Padartheshu, when all these padarthas, when all these objects keep on changing, you can say they are changing in their own Swarupa, or the object itself is changing. You can take it in any manner. When these padarthas are changing, Chaitanya is Avyabhichari. If the same Chaitanya cognizes this, putting a torch in the room, in a dark room, and then even if you change all those objects, the light does not change. So Chaitanyasya avyabhicharitvat, because it is like that, yatha yatha yoyah padartho vijñāyate. For example, yoyah padartha, it can be ghata, it can be pata, it can be any padartha. Yatha yatha vijñāyate tatha tatha jñāyamanatvad tasya tasya. That is here, this anvayam you have to see. Anvaya is this tasya tasya applies to tasya tasya vishayasya jnana jñāyamanatvat. Tasya tasya vishayasya. You have to take it as, you can write it in bracket, for example, tasya tasya vishayasya jñāyamanatvad. As and how, yatha yatha yoyah padartha vijñāyate. Yatha yatha means as and how a particular object is revealed. Tatha tatha, it is there. Yatha tatha padartha exists. Tatha tatha jñāyamanatvad tasya tasya. So it is revealed as it is. तथा तथा यथा यथा वर्तते तथा तथा ज्ञायमानत्वात्. That is, as it exists, it is known. As an object exists, it is known. The actual structure of the sentence, it is because it is slightly difficult, I have noted it. I have given that note also to you. You see, it is because consciousness does not change even as the nature of the object changes. That is, Swarupa Vyabhicharishu Padartheshu. I have broken that line. Chaitanyasya Avyabhicharat. The consciousness does not change even as the nature of object changes. As and how an object is known, that is, yatha yatha. Yatha yatha yoyah padartha vijñāyate. That is, as and how an object is known, the fact that is known as it is. The fact that is known as it is. That is it, isn't it?
Yes.
Jnāya tatha tatha jnāyamanatvat. That is, the fact that it is known as it is, it shows that the consciousness is something which is constant. Whereas object is inconstant, consciousness is, what is it? Constant. Consciousness is constant, object is inconstant. Is it clear?
Yes.
If you want to read me again, then I will read out the sentence. You have time now, or the time is over?
4 minutes more.
Okay. So, is this line clear? Yatha yatha yoyah padartha vijñāyate tatha tatha jnāyamanattvādeva tasya tasya. Not tasya tasya chaitanyasya. Tasya tasya vastunaha or tasya tasya vishayasya. You can write it in the brackets. Tasya tasya vastunaha jnāyamanatvat. Because that object is known as it is. Because of the fact that the object is known as it is. And apart from that, there is nothing. You see, as and how an object is there, the fact that it is known as it is, it shows that this consciousness is constant and is constant in the case of all these changing objects. Then, next line is just a follow-up line. Vastu cha bhavati, vastu tattvam bhavati kinchit
वस्तु तत्वं भवति किंचित
न ज्ञायते इति च अनुपपन्नम.
न ज्ञायते इति च अनुपपन्नम.
So suppose you say vastu is there. Vastu means vastu tattvam. That is, here they are referring to some object is there which is eternal, and then that is not known. Object is there which is eternal, it is not known. Such a situation is impossible, improbable. It is such a situation is improbable. Iti anupapannam. Anupapannam means it is something which is improbable. Just as rupancha drushyate nacha asti chakshuriti yatha. Chakshuhu iti yatha. Just as you can say there is a rupam, there is an object which is there which is having a rupam, but I is not there. How can you say that rupam is there and then I is not there? The knowable is there, the knower is not there. If there is no knower, how can there be knowable? For example, for anything to be known, there should be a knower. So unless this knower is there, how can there be knowable? So that is the point. The knower, known, drukka, drusya, kshetra, kshetrajna, all those things we can apply here. All those things we have to recall to our mind. Then, this is another complicated line. Vyabhijarati tu jneyam jnanam. You got it? Vyabhijarati tu jneyam jnanam. Na vyabhijarati kadachidapi jnanam jneyam. Okay, whatever it is. Because you have to see which is in Prathama Vibhakti, which is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. That is the only thing here. You see, we have known earlier that jnanam is something which is constant, jneyam is inconstant. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Vyabhicharati tu jneyam jnanam. That is, jneyam is inconstant and jnanam is constant. So, jneyam vyabhicharati. Jneyam jnanam vyabhicharati. So, that is the meaning. Jneyam jnanam vyabhicharati. That is, jneya is inconstant with respect to jnanam. That is, jneyam keeps on changing though the jnanam is one. Is it clear? Jneyam is inconstant, jnanam is constant. So, vyabhicharati jneyam jnanam means jneya is inconstant with reference to jnanam. So, this jneyam is in Prathama Vibhakti. You can note down there, in the first line, first half of the line, jneyam is in Prathama Vibhakti. Jnanam is in Dvitiya Vibhakti. Telugulo, if you want to know in Telugu, jneyamu jnananni vyabhicharistundi. Jneyam jnananni vyabhicharistundi. Means, jneya is not permanent, jnanam is permanent. Jnananni vyabhicharistunnati. Then navyabhicharati kadachidapi jnanam gneyam. So here jnanam is in prathama vibhakti, second half. Jnanam is in prathama vibhakti, gneyam is in dvitiya vibhakti. So jnanam doesn't change with respect to gneyam. So that is the meaning. The second portion is jnanam or knowledge or consciousness does not change with respect to object. Gneyam is object. Is it clear?
Yes.
Only structure, the sentence structure we have to see which is the say first, prathama vibhakti, which is in say dvitiya, that is accusative case. So we will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi.